depends if they, you know, how good they get.
Just depends how much they actually get behind the divas again. You know, which
I just don't see them getting, you know.
You have to make everything sexual.
So do you.
Sexual chocolate. But I just don't see the divas.
Sexual chocolate.
I just don't see them making the divas.
Remember the days whenever like Lita and Victoria were like fighting in a cage on Raw?
Yeah,
I mean,
and then
that was interesting.
Then,
you know,
was it Trish and Victoria had the first
Chicago Street Fight?
Yeah, that match, and then Victoria like busted a tooth or whatever.
And Victoria Molly Holly in the shave your hair match.
Molly Holly.
They definitely, you know, devoted more time to the divas then, and
I
feel sorry for today's generation because they don't have the same backing or opportunity to succeed.
It's not like there's a great size in the divas roster now.
Like I thought Karma had a lot of potential. She was different looking, and they could have maybe promoted the division around her. And obviously the Beth Phoenix Karma match I think could have been very interesting, but it doesn't look like we're going to get anything like that.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Eve.
Eve?
Yeah.
She's another one who's improved too.
But I wouldn't really watch a lot of Eve matches though. I like her music, and I think she's...
Would you watch a lot of Divas matches?
Not really.
No.
But does anyone?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Normally it's a blink and you miss it kind of
normally
thing.
It's right, watch the intro, right, fast forward. Okay, there we go.
No, Caitlyn and Eve, they were given quite a lot of time with the Survivor Series.
And that's what I said. That's the first time in a long time that I remember a match going longer than a couple of minutes.
And it was actually okay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, as you say, Caitlyn showed a lot of potential there, I think. So,
right,
Oksana, just have to get Oksana in there.
Yeah.
Does anyone think they're ever going to do anything with her?
Yes. Hyla Boss.
Rosa.
Hyla Boss.
Rosa, let's just mention them all.
No, I wasn't going there.
Although I hate that they've changed their music now because you can't do the hip action the same. It's not as salsa-ish. Yeah, it's changed now, so it's just not the same.
Ariba.
Paige from NXT. I think she has good potential.
Well,
apparently she has been working dark matches and house shows or something recently, I heard.
Yeah, but
so they might be
she looks like she has really, really good potential.
Yeah.
I think it would be fantastic because she's English as well. If like her and Wade Barrett were to be grouped up,
or her and Regal,
that'd be great.
Layla could even get involved in there somehow if they really.
I think that would be fantastic. Like if you think about it, like if you could create like a sort of English stable there, have Barrett at the forefront of it. But that's for another day, another discussion.
Okay, so we'll go on to our current superstar. So Hayley, I'll start with you. Again, you know, like I was going to pick Austin as my current one, but if you want to see somebody from so why don't you have a cut-off point as our current one? Should we say like 2008, 2009? We'll say 2008 since that's whenever you start watching.
I feel they probably have to be in WWE at this moment in time. They can't be released or anything like that.
Okay.
Right, so they have to be on the active roster.
On the active roster, yes.
Right, okay. Damn it.
Yeah. I've got yours here on the pad.
See, I would always have said Cody Rhodes, and I like Cody Rhodes. He's my favorite because, well, what's
Mick Foley. It's a great Calais, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'd always say Cody Rhodes. I said Cody Rhodes forever, so I'm gonna say Cody Rhodes, even though he's gone down in scale. But I still think he's an absolutely brilliant wrestler. I think he should be up there with the Dolph Ziglers and the Miz's. I can't believe he still has not got a title run yet. But the other one, and I feel like such a mark saying this, but because he was my first wrestler I ever met, and he has a soft spot in my heart, CM Punk. It's the first wrestler I ever met, and the first wrestler who was very, very nice to me, and what's the word? Sparked my interest into wrestling, because he is first one, him and Victoria was the first two, and seeing him go from what he was in ECW to what he is now is amazing. So he'd be like my second, but Cody Rhodes just picked him at the post there because Cody Rhodes is younger. More for me. Dashing.
And more for me.
Any point asking you?
Pardon?
Is there any point asking you?
No.
Of course.
Can we skip him?
Who's your favourite wrestler?
My favourite
Of the
wrestler
modern
of
times.
the modern times
That
is
isn't Kane.
none other than Hornswoggle.
Brilliant.
Do you know, I cannot actually believe that I was about to bring Hornswoggle up and go.
Hornswoggle has done a lot of big things in WWE if you
Oh
think
my
about
God,
it.
we're actually
I
going
mean,
for
wasn't he Vince
Done a great
McMahon's illegitimate son at one point?
And the anonymous
He-
Raw General
And the
Manager.
anonymous Raw GM. I mean, he has a lot of accolades, doesn't he? He's done a lot more than probably even Cody Rhodes, really.
Has Cody Rhodes
So,
been GM?
if
No.
you could be serious for a minute.
If I
Yeah,
can be serious
Yeah.
for it.
please.
My favourite wrestler currently, and probably of all the times, is Kane. The reason being that I like Kane, probably again, much like Sting, I've always been a big fan of characters in wrestling. So someone who looks visually cool, always got my attention.
Even though he's red hat.
Even though he's red hot, but just seeing him make the debut with the mask, I was always a fan of horror. He reminded me of Michael Myers back in the day, where he would just stalk out to the ring and he couldn't be
What,
hurt.
Austin Powers?
Not that Michael Myers. And the way he would do the setup and whatnot, that all appealed to me. And the fact that his character has transformed so much over the years, from going to like basically a burnt mute to someone who needed a voice box to speak to someone who then uttered his
am Kane.
who then uttered his first two words.
I am a Rudy Poo candy ass.
But I loved that because that was a character, you know. And then whenever he dished that, then he could talk, and then he eventually dished the mask. A lot of people weren't really in favour of that, but I liked it because it allowed him to do a lot of stuff that he couldn't do under the mask.
An RVD behind.
Exactly. And then basically being able to fall in love with the character all over again when he decided to put the mask back on.
Makes it sound
So-
like such a romantic story.
It is a bit romantic because I've grown up with Kane.
Aww.
Like even back in the day when we would always play fight or play wrestling, I was always Kane. Always had my masks. So yeah, I love Kane. Everything about
Don't ask him what he does with the masks.
Don't ask me what I do with the masks, but
No.
I have probably too many.
He's got kicked out of many a bar with wearing one.
Plus, I don't think he gets enough credit for being as good as he is. I think he is one of the best big men of all time.
And
I
you're,
think
and
he's
you're forgetting a key thing.
I think he's a very selfless performer who doesn't mind taking a back seat to put lesser talents over. And
But you are forgetting a
What is
big thing.
What? He
is one half of the reason that this tag team
Yeah.
division has come back to where it is.
exactly, and in many ways,
I have to give him
I
Dan
think
O'Brien
Kane
that, like.
has been just as good backstage and in the acting portion of the whole thing as Daniel Bryan. Like I know a lot of people, love to say it's Daniel Bryan's carrying the team because he's new, he's fresh, he's been on the independent.
He's not that new.
He's been on the
really.
independent scene for 10 years, so it's cool for Marky Marks to say, oh, this guy's carrying the team. But I think Kane deserves a lot of credit as well,
Was Kane the one that came out of the box?
and for the fact that he is very
No, it's Daniel.
more-
I
Daniel
think
popped
Kane
out of
is-
the box? I could swear Kane
Kane
took
can
that
have-
up out of the
No,
box.
Daniel Bryan did.
It's Daniel.
like he's not just one dimensional. He
I
can
was
do
going to say.
comedy.
I was going to say.
He can
that
do
Kane-
monster, and I think on his day he's the best monster heel that they could have. But at the same time, he can flip the switch, and
Yeah.
he's also happy to take his character in different
Yeah.
directions. He's not like I couldn't say, as you said before, the Undertaker hugging Daniel Bryan in the middle of the ring or something
No.
like that.
That'd be
I
sick.
couldn't
Whereas,
see. I
uh,
couldn't see the Undertaker doing the backstage thing
No.
with Edge and Hogan, where they go like, "What you gonna do?" and they go like,
Yeah.
thousands of Canaanites and start doing all
No,
that.
because that's the thing is, even though we've had kind of two different versions of Undertaker in the sense of you've had the proper dead man and then the American badass, even when he was the American badass, he never was light and bubbly really. He was still sort of, I'm gonna kick your arse.
Yeah, that's my yard. Get out
Yeah.
of my yard.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for Glenn Jacobs as well, just because obviously he went through a lot of kind of
And he got
crap characters, and
Yeah.
then on the third
Isaac
kind of
Yankem.
attempt, he got one that stuck, and he's made
because
a
you have to
big
think
career
as
out of it.
well in terms of if that was nowadays and he had been Isaac Yankem,
His career would
he
probably
possibly
over.
have been done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they saw something in him, so I'm just glad that they found a gimmick that stuck, and he was the perfect size to play kind of a hellish kind of monster to challenge Taker at the time, because they were basically same size.
And both him and Undertaker are ginger, so it's
Exactly,
all well.
so it all worked.
It all
out.
adds up, so
It all
you
worked
could
out
consider
pretty
them
well.
brothers then.
I thought you were going to look at me there when you said ginger.
Alan,
Give me a guess.
I'll say the Miz.
Miz. I thought
Ta-da!
Dolph Ziggler.
Yes, it's the Miz. Dolph Ziggler is a very, very close second.
So
But the Miz was the first one for me that really just kind of captured me in this sort of last modern era. before he even had his big WWE title run or anything. It was just sort of after he'd separated with Morrison that he started to really catch my
And
attention.
you remember back in the day, they always said Morrison was going to be the breakout star.
But then that was
They're
the
always
same with
like, next Shawn
Legacy. It
Michaels.
was
True.
Ted DiBiase.
It always seems to be
Yeah.
the one that you don't think.
Yeah.
And it was
But
the
that
same, it was the
makes you
same,
respect
it was the
Miz
same
all
with
the
kind
more.
of the Rockers as well. They thought Jannetty was going to do really well. You know, they didn't think Shawn was going to do badly, but they thought they'll both do great.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one
But
that
now
is
someone is always
considered to be
labelled the
best.
genetic now, if any
Yeah.
kind of team.
Exactly, and that's what Miz has used in
That's-
promos as well. When
yeah.
him and Morrison
Yeah.
separated, and they had their wee sort of feud as well. It's like, you know, I'm going to be the Michaels, you're going to be the Jannetty, and funnily enough, now don't get me wrong, Morrison is a fantastic wrestler. You know where near
There's
ended up
cars
anything
now.
like Jannetty, but he never hit the level he should have. He should have done a lot.
I'm just not
better.
sure Morrison had the personality though to truly make it at the
No.
top.
He didn't.
He
I
just
think
seemed a bit
Morrison-
kind of.
Morrison needed a mouthpiece, in my
I
opinion.
think
Morrison
so.
was very wooden, in my opinion.
He needs
I was
a
going to say
mouthpiece.
it's a bit rigid, but I didn't want to say
No,
that.
but I think, you know, obviously whenever he was paired with Mercury and then Melina, that's whenever he kind of... he reminds me a lot of R-Truth in the fact that he is only good if he's put in a tag team.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he can stand up by himself. And
Little Jimmy, sure.
well, but R-Truth, it's just like, you know, you look at all them, you know, you look at him and he was with Road Dogg and then he was with Kofi and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think that
Archer
he's...
was the Road Dog.
Yeah, he was K-Quick.
K-Quick.
Getting
K-Quick.
rowdy.
Back in the day, see, that's
Yeah.
you wouldn't know that because you came in late.
I'm
But-
leaving.
But he's been around forever and basically done nothing.
Oh,
you know.
The thing is, Morrison was at his best, in my opinion, when he was with Miz, because they did the whole
Dirt sheet.
Dirt
Yeah.
Sheet
That was
show and all
hilarious.
on
Yeah.
WWE.com.
And they played really
Yeah.
well off each other. Like Morrison showed a lot of
Yeah.
charisma and personality then, but whenever they split them up, it was just like over.
Miz
for
went
him.
this way, Morrison.
Great
Morrison
athlete,
did,
did you say?
Morrison did go up in the sense that he got world title shots, but
Yeah, but he only
at
got
no
that
point
one.
he ever really.
He only got
thought
that
he was
one on
gonna
Night of
take it.
Champions because Captain Planet, he who should not be named, wasn't there, and he was put in to that match, and then he won that match.
Mhm.
And then obviously on Punk's DVD, Punk said that the matches he had with Morrison were some of the worst matches, apart from the last match
Which
that he
clicked
had.
eventually.
Yeah, which eventually clicked, and then at that time, then it was all.
That
said
is
and
just my
done.
memory of the remade ECW is Punk and Morrison, because they were just like the main event for quite a while.
Mm.
But when it comes to Miz, he has, like you say, he has been one of the most improved, from going from what WWE were going to have him as effectively their Ryan Seacrest sort of presenter guy, to messing that up, looking like he would be one of these guys that would get released at the drop of the hat, to actually working his way back, and the apparent stories that he has said about he was eating the chicken and stuff and he was chucked out the locker room by JBL and that sort of thing. Did you never hear him do that promo? You'll have to look it up sometime. It is very, very
But I think
good.
even JBL responded to that promo and said, "Fair enough,
Yeah.
good job, you've made it."
Yeah, because everybody went, oh, he's mouthing about you.
But JBL
JBL's
respected
like,
that.
that's stuff I would have done.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing about, to kind of go off on a quick side note, JBL is fantastic at responding to those sort of things, because we've had the whole Cologne thing with the fact that
Twice
people
now.
are saying that he was angry that he mentioned about being owed money and stuff like
But he's
that.
not afraid to say kind of controversial things or say it as it is, and I think people
Even
like
while being
that.
under contract
Yeah.
with WWE. But no, I think The Miz, as we all know now, is effectively a babyface that can't be denied now.
No.
They said it was going to be a slow turn, but I think they've kind of already got there now. In the fact that he's in the ring, he's calling Punk out.
They do need some pretty big faces now, you know. The WWE.
Like I actually really enjoyed, on Raw going there, the whole back and forth between Punk and Miz. And
There was actually
the
times where I was thinking Miz is actually owning Punk here.
Yeah.
Like,
and some of the stuff was great. Just some of the questions that Miz asked, I wasn't expecting. Just the way he was like, at Over the Limit, blah blah blah. What happened, this that, and when I was main eventing as WWE champion at WrestleMania, who
What
did you
you
lose
did,
to
yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah.
Apparently, ratings dropped during that though. The whole Punk when Miz came out, ratings
See,
went
I
down, but
think-
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think
it always drops off.
third
in the
hour
last
is terrible.
The last hour is always.
Because it's just simply
barren.
too
Mind
long
you,
for
USA
people to
still
sit through.
USA came out and said apparently they're still happy with the ratings for the third hour. So
Yeah.
You hear all these different reports. 1 minute it's like, oh, they're bringing it back to 2, and then the next, as you said, the latest report is that they're 3. So.
They want me to bake a cake.
But the thing is, the third hour ratings always drop off, so I wouldn't really take it as anything. It's people changing off to go and get ready for their next programme, because Raw always overruns, so the figures always plummet in that final segment, unless, for example, you have the likes of a Rock or a Brock Lesnar or
celebration, or
not going to get that nowadays.
No, but I'm saying it did one of the highest ratings, and it was at the end of the show.
But another one of the things that made me chuckle was this when Punk responds, will you tell me if this is true or false, you know, that he looks like an idiot because his microphone's upside down, and just the banter. I think they could have a really, really good feud. But I do think Miz will have to have another WWE title run down the line to really kind of cement himself, but I think he's going to have to wait a while, because
I could see him going for the World Heavyweight Championship than I would the WWE Championship.
I think they need to give him Money in the Bank again.
And they really seemed to lose faith in him for a while there. After a while, he kind of went off the boiler.
But then he got the Intercontinental title.
That's true.
Because I was rewatching Raw 1000, and that was he won it against Christian in that match. And I think I have to give credit to Cody Rhodes for bringing back that old style title, because that again has brought a bit of more prestige back to the Intercontinental title, because it was again a wee bit like the tag team division.
What was dead at one point?
It was effectively dead. It
prop,
didn't mean
nothing more than a prop.
But I thought that title looks far better with guys now. Kofi not so much, because Kofi's Kofi, but for the likes of a Cody Rhodes and a Miz who were heels, that title works.
It's kind of like a flashy white kind of.
And I want it.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. But anyway, enough of my ramblings about Miz.
So
your turn.
My favourite at the current moment would be Dolph Ziggler. Follow very closely because he still kind of wrestles.
Yeah.
I'll just read
In front of the camera right in front.
No.
I think that's why we all secretly like Bill.
What, because my bum wiggle?
Because of the ass wiggle.
I like him because he could sell, as I've said, he'll sell sand to the Arabs.
Tree.
I love that phrase.
Just the fact that, you know, nothing that he does, whenever he's selling stuff, he just makes it look believable. I'm not saying other people don't, but he just like.
I think he almost goes, not over the top, but he just goes that extra mile just to make it look.
He just gets hit by a finisher and he goes limp.
Like the Tensai thing at Money in the Bank, or
Whenever
Tensai
he just
flung
went
over the table, like
yeah.
you just thought that guy was.
He just bounced into the
broken
chair.
apart.
It was just like,
Yeah.
and
But
the front flips.
I think he's very good on the microphone. I think his in-work skills are great, and I think I could see him being one that, you know, like he's good at the minute, but I could see him being great.
And it does look like we are getting the full-blown separation with Vicky Guerrero coming up now, because it looks like there's a bit of tension has been happening between those two now. Because Vicky said on Raw, "I'm losing faith."
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get angry because he's got put in the match
But I
where
could
Money in the
see
Bank's up for grabs and all.
I could
so.
see that once he turns on Vicky, I could see him becoming a face. I could see him being like
Because
the
he could
Orton.
become a
I think
huge face by turning someone as hated as Vicky.
Yeah,
You know, it would
exactly.
instantly make anyone
I
a face.
I just think he needs to establish himself more as just a heel for a bit longer.
Yeah, obviously, you know, like we didn't think he would have that much potential whenever we were watching the Spirit Squad back in the day.
Or even when he first debuted, the Dolph Ziggler thing.
Hi, I'm Dolph
Yeah.
Ziggler.
Just when that happened, you're just like, he's gone in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, really? Why?
He's another one that's been able to make something that shouldn't have worked and
Yeah.
made it work.
But another one that I would put on would be Chris Jericho. Obviously, you know, like he wrestles sporadically. I was going to say The Rock, but then I thought that's
I want a full proper feud between Ziggler and Jericho. The way they teased us with Jericho's sort of last match with Ziggler, just kind of seeing the quality of that match and the promo work between the two.
Yeah.
And then off Jericho goes.
I
to
love
the
when
other
Dolph
chair.
came out to the ring was basically running Jericho down and telling him how he couldn't win the big one or anything anymore. I
Yeah,
thought that was
because that had been
fantastic.
done like obviously before he became the undisputed champion,
Yeah.
and you know like you know everyone the big.
How many
one.
times has Jericho been fired on Raw in a match?
I don't know.
Half a dozen times because he lost to
Easily.
Cena that time.
Yeah.
Then it's the same as Ric Flair, really. You know. But
Shall we do our least favourite modern wrestler?
oh, least favorite as in currently now.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll start with Haley then. If you want to pick a diva, you can pick a diva instead of a.
No, I like my divas.
Well, okay.
Um,
If you don't want to pick your least favorite, who do you think that they should get rid of?
Oh, can't I? There's a lot of people.
Who is it that whenever their match comes on, you instantly go, oh,
Big Show.
there we go.
That was so
Mike,
easy.
you'll be happy with that there then.
Big Show.
Okay. What is it about?
I just can't. Oh. First of all, him being so rude to us when we
I
were
thought, yeah, I
flipping,
agree.
waited so long. That
It was
really
very
really off.
underwhelming, wasn't it?
His matches suck. He sucks.
Although I thought his run at the moment, not that I'm a huge fan of him with the title, but I think he does deserve a bit of credit for kind of making himself slightly more interesting than he has been
Belt up
as a
the-
face.
Mhm.
His matches with Sheamus, in fairness, I think have been decent, have been good, but
Too little, too late.
I think so.
Oh,
He doesn't
Yeah.
need the
so
belt.
slow.
It just reminds me of a lot of Mark Henry.
Yeah.
You know, like he's been around
It's
and
another one.
he hasn't really, you know, like
Great Kelly.
he's been on the fringe of things, and then he's won the
Oh.
title, and then he'll just, you know, like whenever he was doing like the showster or whatever, and you know, like he was dressing up as different people, like Rikishi and stuff, and you're like, really?
Although he's someone I think who they really missed the ball on. Because whenever he first came into WWE, he was very athletic for his size,
Have you chosen yours?
and had they just
Yes, I just,
ran with
no,
him
I just want to have a look at.
and
Like Ross.
not turned him into the joke that they did, he could have. I think people would have looked at him differently today. I mean, he still had a great career, but I kind of took that off you there.
No, I did. A Big Show, Mark Henry. I don't like big guys. They're too slow. Why?
Not even his big red monster.
No, I don't like Kane because Kane has something.
You
to
don't
him.
like Mark
Kane
Henry.
has a
That's
personality.
like nearly slam your drink down your throat.
Kane has a personality, whereas
And he's
I
not
get-
as cumbersome as some of those other big guys.
and I just sit in like a Big Show and I'm like, I don't like you. Go away, get off my TV screen. Plus, he took the belt off Rhodes, which is a bad mistake.
Naughty, naughty Big Show.
Naughty.
What about you?
Well, I would echo the likes of Mark Henry, although again, I think he deserved credit for his world title run because he did far better.
But who makes you, when they come on that television at the moment, just go
The like of
and fast forward?
Great Khali, Hornswoggle, any stuff with either of those two, like they're dancing on SmackDown this week or last week, couldn't stand. Another one who used to really make me change the channel, he's with TNA now, was Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah.
Could not stand Chavo. The only time I ever liked Chavo was when he did the stuff with Eddie. And see whenever
Ross Guerrero's was fantastic.
that was fantastic, but see whenever he did his own thing and he was ECW champion, he was coming out and his music was so boring and I don't know, he just
Ooh, Chavo.
yeah, that really annoyed me, and I just didn't think he was a great talker, and I just thought he was dull all around.
For me, believe it or not, my least favourite at this moment in time is Rey Mysterio. I think he's someone who at this moment in time now is pushing it too far. His body is done. You can see it affecting.
surgery,
You can
mate.
see it affecting his matches now.
Hasn't he been pulled
Surgery.
off TV again for
He's
something?
now
Personal
mind
matters.
that's apparently personal matters.
But we don't
So
know
what that
it
could
is.
be, personal matters could be anything.
Could be them trying to
It
cover
could be
up
another drug
violation.
violation, yeah, for all we know. It could not be another illness, it could be another injury, we
Surgery
don't know.
5 times my left knee.
Yeah, it's a case of when you've had surgery 5 times in your left knee, I think it's almost time to call it a day because there's obviously something not quite right with that knee. Don't get me wrong, I would be interested to see in the proposed planned match between him and Sin Cara at WrestleMania because there's simply for the potential of that supposed mask world record. Because then we could all apply to the Guinness World Record to get our own wee certificates, so that would be kind of cool. But another person that actually, when they're on TV, now they're not currently on TV because they're injured, that actually, in current years, actually bores me now, is Christian.
Yeah.
He does nothing for me anymore. I don't know whether it's because he was away in TNA and has come back and all that sort of
It
stuff,
was-
but he just does nothing for me anymore.
It was
Even when he
nice.
had his world title and I was happy for him that he got his world title and he deserved it,
Then he whined.
but he's just very meh and
I
there,
enjoy
and
the
he's
stuff
he's
with
getting
Orton.
too injured now.
Yeah.
He's
I
getting
liked
banged
him
up.
when he came back, when he debuted again in WWE and ECW, the whole Jack Swagger
And then
thing.
it's just kind of went for
And
me.
then, yeah, it sort of went. And Alberto Del Rio is another one where they're not really doing much.
Now he doesn't make me fast forward,
No, but
he
it's
needs
still-
something other than Randy Orton to feud with.
And he needs to actually win a feud or something on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
He needs a something.
up the-
He needs a title run back.
Something they can just sink his teeth into rather than just these kind of throwaway matches on Raw or
Mm.
SmackDown.
Or backstage
And then ultimately
segments as well.
failing pay-per-view.
Get him a good tag team partner and get him into the tag division for a while.
I'm just not sure he
Why not
has...
pair him with Rodriguez?
They would need to build Ricardo up because he's comedy like Santino.
Yeah, but Ricardo has been wrestling in dark matches under a mask,
Mm-hmm.
so why not even just use that and then use that as a ploy and then make this the first unmasking?
Because I think what's his
and then-
wrestler called, like El Loco or
Yeah,
something like that.
something
So you
like
could bring
that.
him in,
Yeah,
but mine then. Why would they'd have to explain Ricardo not being at ringside or something? But
but then that's whenever you could play Rose in, he could say to Ricardo, right, I don't
your
want
services are
you.
no
And then
longer
Rosa
required.
could do like the thing.
That would actually be a very, very good story.
Copyright that right now.
It's my
He
idea.
dismisses Ricardo. I don't need you anymore. Rosa comes in as the manager. He says, I have a partner. I used to wrestle with him in Mexico and stuff like that. And he comes in as El Loco in the mask and everything like that. And we build up the story. They're tag team for a while, maybe win the tag belt, something like that. Then eventually he has maybe a match that he gets demasked. And Ricardo, it's found out that it's Ricardo or something
Or
like
they
that.
could
And
do it the
Alberto's
other
like,
way.
whoa, sort of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
We could do it the other way where they have Ricardo in a mask feud him with Del Rio,
Mm.
and then Del Rio unmasks him and then finds
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, because he's been fighting with Rick Mysterio and Sin Cara that much.
Butch
But
Cara.
I think that Del Rio is one that seems to be involved in feuds that last way too long. So,
Mm.
having said that, my least favourite at the current minute, there are three. One of them is Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder does nothing for me. I don't.
Fist pump your face in.
I just don't understand this woo-woo gimmick. I know he's an internet sensation and all this here, but I just think that it's going to be one of those things that it's going to be flash in the pan.
Well, it's
Because-
flash in the pan because they just killed it with
I'm not
his guy.
Yeah, but
Not
he's,
to completely
That
kill any
was
momentum
stupid.
that
It was
he
so
had.
stupid.
but
But
like
I
this
enjoyed it.
whole this whole
You just like seeing him like
Choke
some-
someone through the
throw
stairs.
somebody off.
you
the
know
stage
Dolph
or something.
Ziggler versus Zack Ryder WrestleMania 29 for the Internet
No
Championship.
thanks.
I think Dolph Ziggler will be into bigger and better things
Yes.
than the Internet Championship. To be
Cash in
honest.
money in the bank.
I think if
I'm
Zack
worried about
Ryder-
that though come TLC.
I don't think he'll lose it.
I hope not. I really hope not.
if
They
Zack,
need to start building up, and what better than to make him win over
Well,
Cena?
I certainly hope so.
if
The
Zack
Shield?
Ryder
No?
if Zack Ryder wasn't his own publicity stunt, then I think Zack Ryder wouldn't be on the roster.
Gotta respect them though for
I have
making
to
enough noise
I
that they
think
had to respond at that time.
I think he might have still been on the roster, because considering they still have Kurt Hawkins.
Well, I was going to say
where is he?
He's injured at the moment.
Yeah, he's injured at the moment. Yeah.
Like
But
Adam
I think
Moore?
we are going to get a big release here in the new year, because the whole thing was they were hanging on to people because of Linda's
Yeah.
campaign, because
You just know
she
it's
prided herself on creating jobs.
yeah.
But now that's all over and doesn't look like she'll do it again.
Now she can get back
I
to
think
destroying
we're,
them.
I think we're going to get a bit of influx. Of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
With you,
releases.
with you
Another
saying,
another one that should be released. JTG.
With you saying
Yeah, I
about
wouldn't be too
with you
disappointed.
saying about Great Khali and Hornswoggle, Santino just he.
But I love.
But Santino should only be really used, in my opinion, as like
comedy piece.
a comedy, so like a comedy host of something.
I
You know,
know.
like I think his foreign exchange thing's very funny,
Mhm.
but I don't like seeing him wrestle. I think he is just a
Yeah.
jobber. But the one that I fast forward through the most because I'm just sick to death of seeing him is Orton.
That's true. Never
Orton
mind.
is really
I think he needs some sort of character change.
He
or-
needs to. It's probably been said a million times
Uh.
recently by everybody else on YouTube as well. But he needs to go heel.
he needs to go heel, but he needs to really
Up
needs
his
to
game.
do something.
He needs to go back
whenever-
to being that sadistic
whenever
Randy
he
Orton.
had legacy and things like that.
AJ and Cena going bowling.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm
And
just.
they were in the helicopter tribute to the troops as well together.
Yeah. He made a kissy face.
When
Sorry,
when he
Duck
was
face.
part of Legacy or part of Evolution, he had something. Like he was
Mhm.
saying to DiBiase and Rhodes, kind of don't mess up. This is your big chance. Yada yada yada. Whereas you look at him now and he's coming out and like he's. I would actually say that. This pains me to say this, but I would actually more enjoy watching John Cena wrestle than I would Randy Orton.
Yeah.
John Cena,
Because Randy Orton has now entered the 5 moves of doom era.
but I
Even
don't
though I
think-
still
Because
maintain he's fantastic.
Because what's he like clothesline, scoop slam,
No, it's clothesline, duck under the duck under
and
the
then
clothesline,
scoop slam,
and then
The
go for the
DDT.
DDT on the outside, and
and then
then
it's pound the ground,
do the
up,
RKO. And if it's not the RKO,
But it's
then-
not like Orton is the only one with a sequence of moves. Like they all do kind of have their wee routine, but there's just something about
But
his
he's
that
kind of
seems so
lapsed into it
familiar.
now. I think it's because primarily as a face, you're the one that gets beat up, and
Yeah.
then you get your comeback.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So you hit
It's
all your
because
big moves.
it's because Orton is now sort of a tweener / face. He's more face than anything now. He's the one getting beat up a lot in matches, so we now kind of notice these key moves more than
Yeah.
anything now.
They just seem
Whereas
so
if he goes
familiar.
back to being a heel, then he will. be
But you never
controlling
really
matches.
notice it with Brett. You know, like whenever Brett did the atomic drop and then he would
Yeah.
and then did the elbow and that kind of thing. Obviously, we notice it more with Cena.